This isn't just a Sunday on the calendar. Something invisible is already stirring. And if you've been feeling strange lately, upset, a bit quieter, more emotional, easily tired, it's not in your head. It's a soft, spiritual alarm that only the chosen ones can hear. This day holds weight, not because of what will happen outside, but because of what's shifting within. There's a stillness that doesn't feel empty. It feels full, like something is coming, and the universe needs you to be still enough to receive it. Ever felt that subtle pressure? Like your soul is watching you more closely than usual? That's not anxiety, that's alignment. You're being pulled into a moment that can redirect everything. But it won't shout to get your attention. It'll whisper. And only those listening will hear what the Spirit is truly saying. So if your sleep felt strange, if your thoughts keep circling one specific theme, if your body just wants to rest today for no reason, trust it, because what's unfolding today could be the silence before your next breakthrough. Have you ever woken up on a random day and just felt it? Not fear, not anxiety, but a weight, a sacred kind of weight, the kind your soul can sense, even when your mind doesn't understand why. That's what this Sunday feels like. Something is different, and no matter how normal things may look on the outside, and deep down, that something is shifting behind the veil. This isn't the kind of day where big things explode. It's the kind of day where invisible hands start rearranging your path. A day where heaven leans in closer, not to test you, but to observe what your spirit does when things get quiet. Have you noticed the silence lately? Not just around you, but within you. That gentle pull to step back, to avoid noise, to cancel plans you would normally keep. You're not isolating, you're aligning. Your spirit is being invited into a moment of recalibration. And it's not random. There are days when heaven makes moves in broad daylight, and there are others where God works silently, only visible to those with eyes to see and hearts to feel. Today is one of those days. You're not crazy for feeling extra sensitive. You're not being lazy for needing more rest. You're not disconnected for wanting to be alone. You're preparing. You're adjusting. You're tuning into something only those on the path can recognize. And maybe that's why everything feels so quiet. It's not emptiness. It's spiritual density. It's what happens when heaven hovers over your life, gently, powerfully, silently. Think about it. How many times has your spirit warned you before something changed? How often have you looked back and realized the quiet moments were the most pivotal ones? What if that's what today is? A divine breath before the breakthrough, a sacred hush before the next unveiling. It may not look like much, but what you feel is more real than what you see. The shift is happening in your field, not in your schedule. And if you're picking up on that, you're already ahead. Because the chosen don't need external signs to move. They move when the Spirit speaks. And the Spirit isn't shouting today, it's whispering. So the question is, are you listening? Are you willing to make space for the answer that only comes in stillness? Are you willing to release the need to figure everything out today and just trust what you feel? You don't need a message written in the clouds. Sometimes your body is the message. Sometimes the tiredness is your cue. The tears are your cleansing. The pause is your preparation. If your body doesn't want to move today, don't force it. If your spirit feels heavy, don't fight it. This isn't resistance. It's sacred redirection. And not everyone around you will understand. That's okay. They weren't called to carry what you're carrying. They weren't asked to walk where you're going. But you were. And because of that, you'll feel it differently. Today is not a day to push forward blindly. It's a day to feel, to notice, to remember that your inner compass is more accurate than any logic. You are being drawn inward for a reason. Because sometimes, before the next level opens, heaven checks your alignment, and today might be that check-in. So don't rush, don't distract, don't numb. Let the day move you. Let the silence speak. Let God meet you in the stillness. Because when the day feels different, for no reason, it's almost always because there is a reason. And this one is sacred. Why you'll feel something in the air. There are days that pass without you noticing. Then, there are days like this, where the atmosphere feels charged, where your skin feels more electric, where your thoughts become quieter. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you're listening for something you can't explain. You know that feeling? Like something's in the air and your spirit is paying closer attention than usual? It's not just energy, it's invitation. This Sunday, there's a spiritual frequency humming beneath everything. It's like walking into a room that's been cleansed, not physically, but vibrationally. You can't quite put it into words, but you feel the shift. And what you're feeling is real. The spirit is moving through the air like a current, soft but insistent. And if your soul has been aching for something more clarity, more confirmation, more connection, this energy isn't coincidence. It's response. Ever walked outside and just felt watched? Not in a fearful way, but in a way that made you straighten up, breathe deeper, become more aware of your presence? That's what's in the air today. It's heaven checking your posture, not your performance. Your posture, because the way you carry your spirit in moments like this reveals far more than how you behave in the spotlight. You don't need to pray louder. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to feel what's in the field and honor it. Because when the atmosphere shifts for the chosen, it rarely comes with obvious signs. It comes with spiritual pressure, weight, stillness, sensitivity. That's why your heart may feel extra tender, why you've been crying more easily, why even small conversations carry more meaning than usual. You're in tune with the recalibration, and your body knows it before your brain catches up. So, how do you navigate a day like this? You don't figure it out. You lean into it. You let it teach you something your ego can't understand. Maybe that's why you've been pulled away from distractions. Why people you usually talk to are suddenly quiet. Why you're craving solitude, but not loneliness. Because today isn't about filling your time. It's about feeling your alignment. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you paused? Not to rest, but to listen. When was the last time you let the moment teach you instead of rushing to explain it? That's what this Sunday is for. It's a pause wrapped in presence, a quiet moment that invites you to see how far you've come and feel how close you are to something new. There's something you need to hear, but it won't come from a video or a voice or even a verse. It will come from within you, from that quiet knowing that never left, from the part of you that always knew the shift was coming, even when nothing outside had changed yet. So today, if your body feels tired, honor it. If your heart feels soft, protect it. If your mind feels scattered, slow it. Because the message is not in the noise, it's in the space between your thoughts. It's in the breath you almost forgot to take. There's a reason you feel more connected today. A reason why every little thing carries more meaning. You're being reminded that you're not walking alone. That something or someone is walking with you. Quietly. Intentionally. And maybe you don't need to know what's next right now. Maybe all you need is to say yes to the energy that's already here, to allow yourself to receive it fully without controlling it, to be moved, not by information, but by presence. This moment is holy, not because of what happens in the world, but because of what's opening in your heart. And if you're still enough to notice it, you've already passed the part most people miss. How we hear the answer when we stop searching. It's strange, isn't it? How the moment we finally stop chasing answers, the right one finds us. We live in a world addicted to seeking clarity, seeking closure, seeking signs from the universe, from angels, from God. And when those answers don't come fast enough, we panic, we overthink, we question if we've missed something, or worse, if we've been forgotten. But have you noticed what actually happens when you're too tired to keep searching? That moment, when your body can't do one more prayer, your mind won't loop the same thought again, and your spirit, exhausted, just surrenders. You fall quiet, not by discipline, but by divine exhaustion. And it's in that exact space that something new begins to speak. Not loud, not dramatic, just a soft awareness that floats into your heart. Like a sentence you didn't construct, a feeling that wasn't yours a moment ago, a knowing that's always been there. But you finally stopped long enough to hear it. We think answers come from doing more. But the truth is, answers come from making space. How often do you fill your day with effort, even spiritual effort, hoping that if you just do it right, the message will drop in? Have you ever caught yourself meditating harder, fasting longer, journaling more intensely just to force clarity? But God doesn't operate under pressure. The sacred doesn't scream over your noise. It waits, patiently, lovingly. And when you finally run out of energy to chase, you become available to receive. It's in the quiet, in the undone, in the I don't know anymore. That's when your soul finally opens up. Because silence is not the absence of answers, it's the condition for them to emerge. Think about how many times the truth came to you in a whisper, while washing dishes, while walking alone, while staring at the ceiling in the dark. You weren't trying. You weren't being spiritual. You were just still. And that's when spirit speaks. Because clarity isn't something we force, it's something we notice. And the more desperate we become to find the answer, the more noise we create in our own field. Noise that keeps the real message from being heard. So maybe it's not about searching harder. Maybe it's about listening softer. What if you already know the answer, but it's buried under all the questions you keep repeating? What if your soul is already aligned, and it's your mind that's catching up? Today, I want to remind you that divine timing is not late. It's intentional. And if you're being guided into stillness, into pause, into the uncomfortable space of nothing seems to be happening, that is the moment of receiving. Let go of the obsession to get it right. You are not being tested. You are being invited. Invited into a new relationship with spirit, one that doesn't depend on signs or validation or emotional highs, but one that's rooted in trust. in stillness, in the quiet kind of knowing that no one else can give you. So if you've been asking, when will I get the answer? How do I know what to do? What if I never hear anything? Take a breath. The answer may not come as a voice. It may come as a release, a sense of peace you can't explain, a feeling of, I don't need to figure this out today, and that being enough. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, so that what's always been true can rise to the surface. The truth isn't hiding from you. It's waiting for your stillness. Because when you finally stop looking everywhere else, you realize it's always been within. There are moments when your path shifts quietly, not with fireworks or major decisions, but with a subtle, holy redirection that happens inside of you. And if you're not paying attention, you might miss the moment entirely. But right now, something rare is unfolding. You're entering one of those windows, a 72-hour period where your decisions, thoughts, and even your silences are more spiritually significant than usual. Not because you're being judged, but because you're being positioned. Haven't you been feeling a strange urgency in the air? Like time is moving faster, but you're being asked to slow down? Or maybe it feels like everything around you is changing, but nothing inside you feels clear yet? That's not confusion. That's transition. In the spiritual realm, these 72 hours are not random. They're a bridge, a vibrational recalibration, where your alignment either opens new doors or repeats old cycles. And how you walk through this bridge determines what meets you on the other side. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. There are conversations you'll be guided to avoid, not because you're fearful, but because you're finally choosing peace. There are tasks you won't feel urgency to complete, not because you're lazy, but because your priorities are shifting to something eternal. There are impulses you'll resist because your future isn't worth sabotaging for temporary relief. You may find yourself saying no more often, or choosing silence where you once explained, or walking away from something you used to beg God to fix. That's growth. That's protection. That's realignment. Because heaven is watching how you navigate this window. Not in a condemning way, but like a loving parent, checking if you're ready for what you've been asking for. Have you noticed your old triggers returning lately? People reappearing? Situations testing the version of you that you've been trying to leave behind? It's not a coincidence. It's the final test before the shift. Not a test of punishment, but of confirmation. Heaven doesn't need your hustle. It wants your alignment. And these 72 hours are an invitation to come into resonance with what you say you want by living it now. What if the way you treat yourself in these days opens a door you've been waiting years for? What if your response to what doesn't work is the very thing that activates what will? What if heaven is saying, I just needed to see that you wouldn't go back this time? This isn't about what you're doing. It's about who you're becoming and what you're no longer willing to carry into the next phase. So pause, breathe, feel the weight of this window, not with fear, but with reverence. You don't need to rush, but you do need to choose. Choose what supports your peace. Choose what protects your expansion. Choose what aligns with who you are when no one's watching. Because when these 72 hours pass, the energy shifts again. And if you've moved with clarity and courage, the alignment becomes effortless. The doors open without force. The confirmations appear without you begging for them. The right people return. The next step becomes obvious. The fog lifts, not because you chased it away, but because you walked through it without giving up. So let these hours shape you. Let them strip away what no longer belongs. Let them teach you that sometimes the most powerful redirection doesn't come from moving faster, but from standing still with integrity. This window is sacred, and you are ready. What heaven is revealing in the silence. There's something sacred happening in the silence. And it's not empty. It's not accidental. It's not a punishment. It's a divine strategy. We've been conditioned to equate silence with absence of answers, of progress, of divine presence. But that belief couldn't be further from the truth. Heaven often speaks loudest when everything else quiets down. Think about it. How many times have you begged for clarity, for signs, for confirmation, and received nothing but stillness? And how many of those times did you assume you were being ignored, forgotten, or left to figure it all out alone? But what if the silence wasn't ignoring you? What if it was protecting you? Because sometimes heaven closes every other voice, not to confuse you, but to help you recognize your own soul again. When God falls silent, it's not because you're off the path. It's because you're about to discover something within you that no one else could have shown you. And here's the key. Silence reveals what noise hides. When life gets quiet, you finally hear the buried thoughts you didn't want to face. You notice the energy that doesn't feel safe anymore. You become aware of the inner tug of war between your fear and your faith. It's uncomfortable, but it's honest. And honesty is the gateway to alignment. So if you're in a season where everything feels muted, no signs, no rushes of emotion, no big breakthroughs, don't panic. Pause. What's surfacing in that stillness? Are you realizing you've outgrown something you once prayed for? Are you noticing that your peace has become more valuable than people-pleasing? Are you finally seeing that some prayers were actually distractions dressed as desires? Heaven is revealing through restraint, through simplicity, through the space where you're no longer overwhelmed, but finally able to observe. This is when the veils lift, not through action, but through attention. Can you be present enough to catch it? Can you sit with the divine in its quietest form? Can you trust that just because something feels invisible doesn't mean it's not sacred? So many of you are asking right now, why am I being kept in the unknown? Why won't God just show me the next step? What am I missing? But maybe the next step isn't something you need to see, it's something you need to become. And silence is where becoming begins. No external guidance, no emotional noise, just you, your breath, and the God who never stopped walking beside you. This silence isn't empty. It's full of recalibration. It's where the angels whisper what they can't say when you're surrounded by distractions. It's where timelines collapse. It's where illusions fall away. It's where you begin to hear the real version of yourself, the one not shaped by fear or urgency. So instead of resisting the quiet, bless it. Instead of assuming something is wrong, ask what's being realigned. Because in this moment, in this very silence, heaven is revealing who you truly are without the noise of the world telling you otherwise. You're not behind. You're not blocked. You're in divine preparation. And when it's time to move again, you'll move differently. Not from desperation, but from clarity. Not for validation, but from purpose. Not in fear of silence, but in partnership with it. Heaven reveals deepest when you stop filling the space meant to be sacred. So let it be quiet and listen deeper than ever before. Not every day is equal in the spiritual realm. Some days carry the weight of an entire season. Some moments echo across timelines you can't even see yet. And this Sunday is one of those days. Not because something dramatic will happen outside of you, but because something irreversible is already shifting inside of you. You can feel it, can't you? There's a sacred tension in the air, a soft intensity. It's like heaven is holding its breath, watching how you respond to what feels so subtle, yet strangely urgent. And here's the truth most won't recognize. You don't need a breakthrough moment today to be changed forever. You just need presence. Because this isn't a day for chasing answers. It's a day for remembering what's already within you. The pull to isolate today, that's not depression, that's divine shelter. The heaviness you feel in your chest, that's not stress. It's the pressure of revelation being born in your spirit. The mental fog that won't let you plan ahead, that's not confusion, it's heaven. Slowing your mind so your soul can speak louder. Don't dismiss these signals. Don't rush to fix what feels off. Don't numb this moment with distraction. Let today be what it is. Let it be sacred. Let it be simple. Let it be a reset. There is power in choosing stillness when the world tells you to move. There is healing in silence when everyone else is shouting. There is alignment in doing less and feeling more. This Sunday was marked long ago, not on your calendar, but in the divine timeline of your calling. And while most will scroll past it, sleep through it, or spend it chasing things that don't feed their soul, you won't. Because your spirit remembers, your intuition is awake. You may not know what you're preparing for, but you know you are preparing. And maybe that's all that matters right now. This day won't be wasted, because you won't let it be. You'll use this moment to choose peace over panic, faith over fear, and presence over performance. You'll honor your body's need to rest. You'll listen to the gentle nudges instead of ignoring them. You'll reflect, not react. You'll receive without forcing. And in doing so, you'll align yourself with what's next. Maybe it won't show up tomorrow. Maybe no one will even notice the shift. But heaven will, and that's enough. Because the spiritual world isn't moved by noise, it's moved by resonance. And today, your resonance is recalibrating everything. So breathe deeply. Place your hand over your heart and say with conviction, this Sunday is not ordinary, and neither am I. Because when you honor the sacred timing of a day like this, you show the universe you're ready, not just for blessings, but for alignment, not just for direction, but for the responsibility that comes with your calling. So let this day shape you, let it stretch you, let it soften what needs to be softened. Let it fortify what's ready to rise. And above all, let it mark you as the one who was fully present when heaven whispered, this Sunday won't be wasted, because you showed up for your spirit, and that changes everything.